Hello to all. I, Dr. Ramandeep Kaur, welcome you on BHS e-learning classes. Today we are going to discuss about the fertilization. Like earlier in my lecture number 12, we had discussed about the fertilization in which the gametogenesis, oogenesis and spermatogenesis were discussed. And today we are continuing its part 2, fertilization part 2, which is my lecture number 13. And in this we will discuss about what is capacitation, how the formation of morula blastocyst occurs, and what is implantation and decidua. So moving ahead, first we'll discuss about the what is capacitation. So if you have remembered that in our last lecture we had discussed that there is a formation of the mature sperm and the mature ova, and once during the intercourse, when the sperms enter the female reproductive tract, it is not like this that it will immediately start the fertilization. It will stay for some time inside the female reproductive tract, and during that time some changes occurs which leads to the fertilization, which leads to the capacitation. So the capacitation is, it is a process by which sperm became capable of fertilizing the ova. So simply we can say that the capacitation, it is a series of, like step by step it occurs, series of functional changes which occur under the influence of the fallopian tube secretions, fallopian tube secretions. Like why I have written here fallopian tube secretion, if you remember that so keep in mind that the fertilization occurs in the ampullary part of the fallopian tube. So the fallopian tube will secrete some secretions which will lead to the removal of the glycoprotein coat, removal of glycoprotein coat plus cholesterol and protein from the head of the sperm. So it is a functional changes which happens in the sperm. So that leads to the capacitation. So remember my friends that the ability of the sperm to fertilize the ova occurs in the female reproductive tract, that is in the cervix it started, but majorly it happens in the fallopian tube. So fertilization always occur in the ampullary part of the fallopian tube. Now discuss about this sequence of events that happens during the capacitation. So under this is the first event is the capacitation. So capacitation means the sperms become hypermotile. So when it will enter the cervix, it will gains its motility. It will become hypermotile. We know that the motility of the sperm attained in the epididymis. So when it will enter the female reproductive tract, it will become hypermotile. Then this sperm will bind to the zona pellucida. Zona pellucida, it is a layer of a ovum. So if you can see here diagram, this is a diagram of a mature ovum. So this ovum has two layers. First you can see here is zona pellucida and second is the choriona radiata. So for the fertilization to the occur, sperm need to penetrate the layer of the ovum. So the sperm will penetrate the layers of ovum. So there are two layers of the ovum. First is the corona radiata and second is the zona pellucida. So you can see here is the corona radiata. It is a layer of granulosa cells which surrounds secondary oocytes. That is corona radiata. See here in the diagram. And second is the zona pellucida. So zona pellucida, it is a layer of glycoprotein. So remember, zona pellucida, it is a layer of glycoprotein which is outside the ovum. So you can see here in the diagram, it is outside the ovum, but it is inside the follicular cell. But inside the follicular cells. So what is follicular cell? What is secondary oocyte? If we have not gone to my previous lecture number 12, please go through it. Then you will clear with all these small terms. And then after the zona, the sperm has penetrated the zona pellucida. Now the what will happen? The acrosomal reaction will occur. Like sperm has penetrated the corona radiata, it has completely destroyed the corona radiata and reaches to the zona pellucida. Up sperm has reached up to the zona pellucida. Now the acrosomal reaction will occur. So what happens in the acrosomal reaction? It will digest the zona pellucida and fusion with the ovum occur. So what is the acrosomal reaction? So from the name it is clear that the acrosomal layer of sperm. So this starting one layer, this is a acrosomal, then this is a body, then this is a tail. So this is a acrosomal layer. So acrosomal layer of the sperm has special enzyme that is called as hyaluronidase. So this enzymes basically plays a important role in the digestion, in the lysis of the zona pellucida. Zona pellucida, it is a layer of the ovum. So acrosome has this special layer. So this will go. This will help in the dissolvement of the zona pellucida, and plus zona pellucida has special receptor that is a zona ZP3, zona pellucida 3 receptors. It has special receptors. So this receptor has a special capacity, maybe they attracts towards the sperm. So this layer helps in the attraction of the sperm to that site. So now the sperm has attached to this layer. So then what will happen? So it will lead to the lysis of the, it will lead to the penetration of the sperm to that layer. So this spona dona pellucida, so the acrosome, the sperm will, the acrosomal layer of the sperm will help in the attachment of the sperm to the zona pellucida with the help of the hyaluronidase. So basically the function of the zona pellucida is to prevent the further polyspermy. This we are going to discuss in a next point, that when the sperm has when the fusion of the sperm occur with the zona pellucida, so zona pellucida by hardening of it will not let the other sperm to fuse with the ovum. So now the acrosomal reaction has occurred. Then like acrosomal reaction has occurred, sperm has entered the ovum. Then there is a, it will lead to the fusion of this sperm and egg. Fusion of sperm and egg occurs, like if you remember that once the, when the sperms will enter, then it will lead to the completion of meiosis 2. Meiosis 2 will complete here. Then there is a formation of female pronucleus, which is a 23 number chromosome, and from there is also from the male side male pronucleus, that is from the male sperm. So this 23 will fuse, will lead to the formation of the zygote. Now the fusion has occurred, then it will lead to the hardening of the zona pellucida. So this is the last step actually of the capacitation. Like when the fusion has occurred, now the zona pellucida will not let the other sperm to fuse with the ovum. So like after, so remember after the fusion of, after the fusion of sperm and egg, the oocyte will depolarize itself. Why it will depolarize? To prevent the further fusion of, to prevent the further fusion of sperm. So say आगे sperm will not fuse with the egg. So then also along with this depolarization, there is a generation of the calcium and other ions, and it will lead to the hardening of zona pellucida. So with this, the capacitation has occurred. So basically capacitation, it is a very simple process like happened in the 5 steps. In the first is the capacitation, there is a hypermotility. When the hypermotility has done, then the sperm will bind to the zona pallidus. How it will bind? By destroying the corona radiata. Then there is an acrosomal reaction occur, that the sperm has a special enzyme, that is a hyaluronidase. So it helps in the penetration of the sperm to the zona pallida, and once the sperm has entered, meiosis 2 will complete, and when all the meiosis 2 has completed, fusion occur, and at last the zona pallida is a layer of the sperm, it will get hardened so that no other sperm can enter its territory. So इसके एरिया में कोई और sperm enter ना करे. So in brief, that the fertilization, so when there is a fertilization, it will lead to the 46 number of chromosome, like the male pronucleus plus female pronucleus. Male and female pronucleus like the 23 and 23, it will lead to the 46 number of the chromosome, which is a zygote. So the zygote has both maternal as well as paternal chromosome in it. It has chromosome both from the mother and the father side. And also remember one important point, my friends, that the day of fertilization is equal to day of ovulation. So day of ovulation is 14 days of normal menstrual cycle. Normal menstrual cycle means 28-day cycle. If the female's cycle is of 28 days, so the day of fertilization is a day of the ovulation. So this is a reason the ovulation is very important. Like in many movies you have seen that they have discussed that like now it is my ovulation period, now my ovulation is started. So actually the fertilizations happened at the time of the ovulation only. And also in case of the IVF, in vitro fertilization, so when there is a day of ovulation, it is a day of oocyte retrieval. Oocyte retrieval, and which is a day of fertilization. So this is a reason the ovulation, it is very, very, very crucial for a female. If a female, she wants to conceive, then if the intercourse happened at the time of the ovulation, so there is a maximum chances of that the female may get pregnant. Like the example of this Good News movie, I guess you people have seen. So in that, Kareena Kapoor talked about that's my ovulation period had started. So this is a reason ovulation plays a role. And remember this another question, that the zona pallida, which is we know that a zona pallida is a layer of the ovum which is playing an important role so that no other sperm can enter her area. अब ठीक है, one sperm has entered, अब एक sperm मिल गया, उससे ज़्यादा कोई और sperm अंदर enter ना करे. So it is basically composed of the acellular membrane. It is made of glycoprotein, and receptor for sperm head, that is ZP3 is present here. So after capacitation, now the fertilization has occurred. Now the second step is the formulation of morula. So formation of morula, like fertilization has occurred, like sperm has entered, and it has led to the formation of the zygote. So when the zygote has occurred, this zygote will undergo rapid meiotic division. This zygote will undergo rapid meiotic division, which is called as cleavage. Remember in OBG, maybe in your Viva exam, you can ask what is cleavage. So when there is a rapid meiotic division which occurs in the zygote, it is called as a cleavage. Like mitosis has started, so it will lead to the formation of two-cell zygote, or we can say that two-cell blastomere. Isko blastomere bhi we can also say. Then this two will lead to the further mitosis has happened. It will lead to the four-cell zygote or four blastomere. And in this four there is further mitosis. It will lead to the 8-cell stage. And on third day there is a 16-cell zygote. or 16 blastomere, which is called as morula. So morula is basically, it is a formation of cells that is 16 in number, and the 16 number in cells, it is actually is this 16 cell shape is equal to mulberry shape. So the shape of this morula is a mulberry shape, as you can see here in the diagram. So till now, remember, please keep in mind that till now there is just increase in number. Remember, अभी तक क्या हो रहा? There is just increase in number, no increase in mass. Till now there is an increase in the number. Then 16 cell stage, that is morula, will further undergo mitosis. This will lead to the 32 cells, and then is the 64 cells, which is a blastocyst. Blastocyst is its next stage, which in which we'll discuss in detail about the blastocyst. So now the morula has formed. Morula, that is, it is 16 cell stage has formed, and it will move towards a uterine cavity. Why it is moving towards uterine cavity? Because fertilization happened where? It is happened in the ampullary part of the fallopian tube. अब क्या होगा? वहाँ से it will move towards a uterine cavity. And how it will move? That is, it is due to the movement of the cilia, because the cilia is made of the columnar epithelial cell. So movement of the cilia, and plus peristalsis movement of fallopian tube. अब fallopian tube से हमारा जो fertilized morula, it has entered to the uterine cavity. So remember, till 3 days of the fertilization, the zygote remains in the fallopian tube, and secretions of the fallopian tube provides the nutrition. It is not like this that the fertilization has happened, zygote has formed, and morula, it needs nutrition. So the cells of the fallopian tubes are secreting so that the nourishment can attain to the zygote. And then on the fourth day after the fertilization, it will form the 16 cell stage, and which is equivalent to the day 18 of a 28-day cycle. And after the 5th day, there is a zone hatching. Zone hatching is basically, it is a lysis of the zona pellucida. So zone hatching, it will happen when there is a formation of the blastocyst. When the fluid enter the morula, it becomes the blastocyst. So when there is a blastocyst formation, there is a zone hatching. So morula formation clear? And after the morula formation, the third step. Third phase is the formation of the blastocysts. So in a very brief, we'll recall that on the day 4 of fertilization, morula has entered the uterine cavity. How it has entered, we had discussed. And then there is a uterine milk. So what is this uterine milk? Actually, the endometrial gland secretes the secretion which is called as a uterine milk. And this uterine milk, it actually nourishes the morula. नरिशमेंट तो चाहिए. टिल नाउ देयर इज नो प्लेसेंटा, कुछ नहीं है, सब नरिशमेंट तो चाहिए. सो नाउ this uterine milk, this endometrial glands are secreting the uterine milk, which is providing nourishment to the morula. So uterine milk enters the morula through the zona pellucida. Zona pellucida layer ke through it will enter. And this uterine milk and nutrients will store in the cytoplasm of the blastomere of the morula. Like we had discussed, that is 16 cell stage. So this uterine milk is going to store in it so that it can provide nourishment to the morula. And when the blastomere turns after the 16 cell stage, there is a 32 cell stage. And when the blastomere turns 32 in number, fluids enter the morula and start collecting between the blastomere. So remember, until abhi tak kahan tha, jo hamara fluid tha, it was in the blastomere, and now it is going to enter into the morula, and there is a fluid accumulation around it, like you can see here in the diagram. So there is a fluid accumulation, and when there is a fluid filled cavity with blastomere around it. With blastomere around it, it is called as blastocele slash or blastocele cavity. So now the blastocele has formed. You can see here in the diagram, fluid-filled cavity with the blastomere around it, which is called as blastocele or blastocele cavity. And now, what happens after this? After this, a blastocele formation, then there is a formation of mass from it. Till now there was just increase in number. Now there is a formation of the mass, which is called as blastocyst. So when there is a formation of mass occurring, which is called as an blastocyst, and at last there is a zone hatching. Zone hatching, there is a lysis of zona pellucida. Why zona pellucida is lysis happen? Because of blastocyst. Remember, when there is a formation of the mass, it will then lysis of the zona pellucida will occur. So what is this clinical importance of this blastocyst? Actually, this blastocyst has two sides, inner side and the outer side. Inner side is the inner cell mass. This inner cell mass, it leads to the formation of three layers, that is ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. And also proper embryo formation occurs from it. Proper embryo formation. That is why this inner cell mass is called as the embryoblast. And then second one is the outer cell mass, which in outer cell area, it is basically, we can say that this is a trophoblast or trophodectoderm. So it is divided into two: cytotrophoblast and syncytiotrophoblast. Syncytiotrophoblast, it is a factory of the placental hormonal. So all the placental hormonal hormones is going, example HCG, HPL. And this cytotrophoblast, it basically further divided into two: villus and extravillus. And this extravillus cytotrophoblast helps in controlling pregnancy-induced hypertension. So remember, this extravillus space helped in the control of pregnancy-induced hypertension. And this villus is further divided into two: chorionic villus, from where the fetal side of placenta form, and this leads to the formation of fetal membrane, like amnion and chorion forms from it. So this is a basic concept. Like in my next lecture, we'll discuss about the placenta formation. So there will all this term will come. So you must have the idea from where there is the origin of all these cytotrophoblast, syncytiotrophoblast. And now after the blastocyst formation, कैपेसिटेशन हुई, स्पर्म मोटाइल हुआ, वो फ्यूज हो गया. उसके बाद सेकेंड स्टेज क्या हुई हमारी? मोरुला बना. मोरुला इज ए 16 सेल स्टेज फॉर्मेशन. एंड नाउ द मोरुला फॉर्मेशन हैज हैपेंड, एंड आफ्टर द मोरुला देयर इज अ ब्लास्टोसिस्ट की सेल मास बन गया. अब क्या होगा? इम्प्लांटेशन. सो व्हाट इज इम्प्लांटेशन? इट इज अ बेसिकली अ अटैचमेंट ऑफ द ब्लास्टोसिस्ट विद द endometrium. So implantations occurs when there is blastocyst formation. So question here is, so what is going to implant in the uterine cavity? It is the blastocyst is going to implant it. And why it is blastocyst only? Why the blastocyst going to implant? Why it is not the morula and all? Because the blastocyst has two layers: cytotrophoblast and syncytiotrophoblast. So these layers have a tendency of invasiveness. So these layers have the tendency of invasiveness, so this is a reason implantation occur in the blastocyst, and it is going to invade in the uterine lining. Which uterine lining? Which is prepared during the secretory phase of the menstrual cycle. If you remember oogenesis, like when when the follicular stimulating hormone will secrete, it will literally increase in the secretion of in the secretion of the endometrium. So if the sperm has arrived, so it is going to implant there. So it is a secretory endometrium which is going to spread a red carpet welcome. I can say red carpet welcome for this fused sperm and ovum. And timing of implantation, it is the day 6 to day 10 of the, that is day 20 of the menstrual cycle, day 6 to day 10 of the fertilization, which is correspond to the day 20 of the menstrual cycle. And most common site of implantation is the upper posterior wall of the uterus. Now further moving ahead, types of implantation, there are two types of implantation. First is the superficial and second is the interstitial implantation. So what, always remember that what kind of the implantation occur in the human, it is interstitial. So interstitial implantation is a human implantation. Like in the interstitial implantation, that fertilized blastocyst is going to penetrate deeper inside. It will burrow and it will replace all the endometrium lining and it will rebuild over there. So it is a deep penetration of the blastocyst, and it happens in case of the human. And superficial is, like from the name it is clear that there is no deeper attachment of the blastocyst. And remember, like few female will feel, yeah, they will said that they have some bleeding, like they had done the UPT test, it is positive, like, but they will say that but there was slight spotting of blood was there. So that slight spotting of blood is a Hartmann sign or the placental sign. So it is a bleeding at the time of implantation. Now, clinical implication of this implantation. So, first is that it leads to the intradecidual sign. Raja, what is intradecidual sign? It is a first sign which we see on ultrasonography. There is a sac. Actually, there is a gestational sac deep inside the endometrium, that is called as the intradecidual sign. And another clinical implication of this implantation is Piscasex sign. In my very first lecture we had discussed about the Piscasex sign. So it is a asymmetrical enlargement of the one side. So like if the implantation has happened here, so this side is more enlarged than to the another, it is due to the eccentric implantation. And remember, true gestational sac is always eccentric. So now the implantation has happened. And after the implantation, so there are the three stages through which the implantation occurs. First is the apposition, second is the adhesion, and last is the penetration. Apposition means it is coming near to the uterine lining due to selectin. And then is the adhesion, it is going to adhere to the uterine lining. And last is the penetration. Penetration means it is going deeper inside the uterine layer. So that is a deep implantation. Like penetration, like we had already discussed that in the human there is an interstitial implantation of the blastocyst happened. And there is one clinical aspect related to this implantation, that is ectopic pregnancy. Like ectopic pregnancy, it happens like when the implantation is occur outside the uterine cavity, like either it is in the ovary, either it is in the fallopian tube, either it is in the abdomen. So that is ectopic pregnancy. So uterus, apart from the uterine cavity, the implantation is occurring at some another place. So this ectopic pregnancy can happen due to the decreased movement of cilia की movement नहीं है, and there was a decreased movement of the peristalsis in the fallopian tube, and it may also occur due to any kind of the adhesion in the fallopian tube. So it will lead to the ectopic pregnancy, and more chances of ectopic pregnancy, like in the female who were having pelvic inflammatory disease, because it will lead to adhesions. And another, in case of if there is a in vitro fertilization, so in that cases also there is a high risk that the pregnancy may be ectopic pregnancy. So if the implantation is not happening at a proper place, it will lead to the ectopic pregnancy. And now last, there is a formation of the decidua, like implantation has occurred and there is a decidua formation. So what is decidua formation? Like the specialized endometrium of pregnancy is called as decidua. So when the implantation occurred, the secretory endometrium is going to transfer into a specialized endometrium, and that specialized endometrium is decidua. So basically the endometrium of pregnancy is called as the decidua, and the decidua formation will happen after the implantation. Immediately when the implantation has occurred, जैसे implantation होगी, that secretory endometrium will convert into the decidua, and it happens around the day 10 of the fertilization. There is a decidua formation, and now there is no placenta. Remember, up to this stage of the fertilization, or we can say the pregnancy, there is a no placenta. So this decidua is going to provide the nourishment to the growing embryo. So clear? So decidua will formation. So the question here is, why decidua formation? Its formation occurs due to the progesterone. Progesterone has stimulated the formation of decidua, and the progesterone has stimulated the formation of decidua because of the corpus luteum. Okay, now the decidua has formed, and further is the layers of decidua. There are 3 layers of decidua: compact layer, middle spongy layer, and the inner basal layer. Third stage of labor. Remember, in the third stage of labor, we had discussed little bit about the layers of decidua. So the first is compact layer. It is a superficial layer which will shed off with the expulsion of placenta. It will shed off. Then is the intermediate spongy layer. This intermediate spongy layer, it is actually a plane of placental separation. When the placenta is going to separate, so it is going to separate from this middle spongy layer. And last is a basal layer. This is the inner layer, and this basal layer, it works as a source of endometrium regeneration in puparium. In my puparium lecture, I had discussed about all this basal layer. So this is actually a basic concept. Like from the decidua, basal layer is a layer of the decidua. So the decidua has 3 layers, which is playing role in the pregnancy also and after the pregnancy also. And then there is a decidua. Like remember that the implantation occurs in this superficial layer of the decidua. Then this superficial layer, it will divide it further into 3 parts. So there are the 3 parts of the decidua. First is the decidua bacillus, second is decidua capsularis, and last the decidua parietalis. So what is decidua bacillus? So it is a decidua formation beneath the deciduous formation beneath the blastocyst, or we can say that beneath the embryo. Deciduous bacillus. And then is the deciduous capsularis. Like, remember we talked that in the interstitial implantation, it will rebuild the implantation of the blastocyst will lead to the formation of the layer upon it. So it is a thin layer that covers the blastocyst superficially. And third is the deciduous paritalis. Deciduous paritalis, like, one is a deciduous bacillus like blastocyst इसके नीचे जो layer, that is bacillus. Then another is the layer which is covering the whole blastocyst, and what is the leftover area, जो endometrium का area which is left over, that is called as the decidua paritalis. So it is the remaining decidua that lines the uterine cavity except for the implantation site. So then there is a decidua vera. Decidua vera, actually it forms from the fusion of this decidua capsularis and the paritalis, which I am going to discuss now further. Like, see, suppose the implantation has happened, so blastocyst has implanted here, and this all space is empty. This is called as the empty space is called as the decidual space. Now, as the embryo is growing, so it will cover this space. So it is bulging down, so it will cover all this space. So it will lead to the fusion of decidua capsularis and plus decidua paritalis. And its fusion will lead to the formation of decidua vera. Like you can see here that in the diagram also, this is a degenerating decidua capsularis. This two will fuse, it will degenerate and it becomes a decidua vera, and this decidua bacillus, it will further going to play a role in the formation of the placenta. And now the placenta formation will going to start from here. So with this, our fertilization has completed. Thank you so much.